All right, here we go. 22 arc. Gonna take the very first shot at 100 yards. Alright, here we go. 22 arc. Gonna take the very first shot at 100 yards. Hey guys, welcome back to another video here with Fall River Shooters. We're excited to show you the brand new Varmint V2. This is the TS50. It's a 640 resolution thermal scope by AGM. Today we're gonna show you how to sight it in. We're gonna show you how to set up the ballistic calculator, and we're gonna show you how effective it is. Stick around. Zeroing it at 100 yards. When shooting plywood at under 200 yards, you can generally see the point of impact through the scope. I walked down there and measured how low I hit, and I also put a piece of aluminum tape over the hole. The aluminum tape shows up as black as it is a cold heat signature. To zero it, we're going to jump into the main menu here. We're going to scroll down to the zeroing icon. It's a white circle with a reticle in the middle of it. And then we're going to scroll down and zoom in. I like to shoot zoomed in at 20x, so we're going to zoom it into there to get the finest movements. And from there, we're going to move the reticle down and slightly to the left to where it is sitting on top of the piece of aluminum that I taped on there. And you'll be able to see a little white plus sign where we were originally sighted in. And I will show you a picture of that here shortly. You can also freeze the image to move the crosshairs to make it more stable. I did not do that in this video. Take your time and get it just perfect. The more perfect you can get it, the less ammo you're gonna waste. Be sure to leave the plus sign at your point of aim and move the crosshairs to your point of impact. Go ahead and exit out. Make sure OK is highlighted in red so that it saves, and shoot a couple rounds to make sure you are on. If you look closely, you can see both shots hit just to the right. That's probably due to the fact that I did not have a level on the gun and was slightly off one direction when shooting and the other direction when correcting the aim. But anyways, from here we'll go ahead and move that over to the point of impact, double check it, and we're ready to move out to 500 yards. One thing I do want to mention is to sight it in the same way that you're going to be shooting it in the field. And so if you're going to be using a tripod, use a tripod to sight it in. We found that if you shoot it off a bench or in a Caldwell lead sled, oftentimes that point of impact can be different than when you're shooting it off of a tripod. Let's shoot it at 500 yards and see how we do. I'm using an electronic target, so I don't have to drive down there, but you can also use a plywood board. We can see I was holding for 46 inches of holdover, but I was hitting 11 inches high, so subtract that, and I should hold 35 inches of holdover. So we're going to jump into the Ballistic app and make those changes that we need to get 35 inches of holdover. My ballistics calculation was already turned on. I'm using ballistic profile number 1. If I want to use a different type of ammo, I can use ballistic profile 2, etc. I know my velocity as I was using a chronograph, 2,974 feet per second. I'd zeroed it at 100 yards. The altitude was 2,800 feet. Be careful that I put in the correct altitude. The first time I put it in, I put 28,000 feet on accident, and that's not what you want. The temperature was 64 degrees Fahrenheit. The ballistic coefficient needs to be a G1BC. The bullet I was using only has a G7BC, and so I had to do some guesstimation to get it accurate, but it's fairly easy. I took the G7 BC and times it by 2.4, and that should get you pretty close to the G1 BC. The sight height was 2.97 inches on my AR-15 with this TS50 640, and that amount of information should get you close. Now we're going to check it and see if we're accurate. If you look closely here, you'll see that instead of correcting my data to have a 35-inch holdover, it had a 36-inch holdover. Now when we look at the electronic target, we'll see that my point of impact was exactly 1 inch high, but we called it close enough, and time to double check it at 300 yards. Holding for about a 3-mile-per-hour wind going left to right. Show you one of my favorite thermal targets here. So we got a board 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and that way it can get above this tall grass around here. And it slides up and out of those slots real easy so that it can lay down flat in the pickup. And then we have a 3.5-inch hole cut here. And on the back side, we got some straps, and we got a 4-inch gong. You can see we hit it twice there. And then I just have some Gorilla tape back here, and it just holds some hot water. And you put it back there, and within a minute, that gong is hot and stands out really well. Now it's time to test it out. My first shot's going to be at 29 yards. Notice how the crosshairs are actually above the Gatorade bottle. From here, we're going to move out to 220 yards and shoot a milk jug. And here's where I have to apologize to you all. I was so intent on making good shots that I forgot to refocus the scope. So the scope is focused at 29 yards, and the rest of the shots are going to be out of focus. You can see the milk jugs just fine, but I do apologize for that. From here, we're going to move out to 314 yards. I'm shooting off of my tripod just as I would out in the field hunting coyotes, and that's important to practice with. Notice I'm holding a little to the left. There's once again about a 3-mile-per-hour wind from my left to my right. Notice how easy this is. You can hand this to anybody, just show them how to use that rangefinder, and no matter what the yardage is, they'll know exactly where to aim. Shooting a coyote at 300 yards, no problem. Once again, I'm shooting off my tripod. From here, we're going to move out to 415 yards. I've got the stopwatch going in the top left corner just to show you guys that, you know, I'm not doing any edits. This is shot for shot. And coming up, I make my second mistake. I have been holding for wind. We've had about a 3-mile-per-hour wind coming left to right. And so I'm going to hold for that amount of wind again. Let's see what happens. As my heart sinks as I miss that last shot, I realize there is no more wind. And that's a wrap. If you're interested in shooting coyotes out to 400 yards plus, these Varmint V2s are excellent scopes for doing that. And if you purchase from Fall River Shooters, I'll be happy to help you set up your ballistics, answer questions, and make sure that you're ready to get out there and make some long-range shots. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.